Have you ever had a moment where the air feels heavy, like the whole room is pressing down on your chest? That's what happened the night I opened that door. I wasn't looking for trouble. I wasn't snooping or creeping around where I didn't belong. I was just walking down the hall, heading to grab something I'd left behind. But then, something stopped me cold. Voices, laughter, too close, too familiar. I pushed the door open just enough to peek inside, and that's when my world tilted sideways. My body froze before my brain even caught up. Every muscle locked, every sound in the room muffled, except for the rush of my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. There they were, two people who had no business being that close. Two people whose very existence in that moment rewrote everything I thought I knew about loyalty, love, and betrayal. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. My mind kept repeating the same sentence over and over like a broken record. I caught someone I never expected, with someone they never should have been with. Do you know that kind of shock? The kind that makes your skin prickle, that makes time stutter, that makes you wonder if maybe you're dreaming, because it's too insane to be real. I remember gripping the doorframe so tightly that my nails dug into the wood. I remember thinking, if I blink, maybe this scene will disappear. But it didn't. It was happening. And the worst part? It happened under the roof of my best friend's home. My name's not important. What matters is that my best friend has always been Emily. We grew up side by side, same schools, same secrets, same teenage heartbreaks. If sisterhood could exist without blood, that was us. She was the steady one, the kind of friend who never let you down. And when life got messy, Emily was always the anchor I tied myself to. So, when she got married, I celebrated like it was my own wedding. James, her husband, seemed like the dream every parent wishes their daughter would bring home. Successful in his career, charismatic in a way that lit up a room, and smooth enough to win over her entire family in a single dinner. He wasn't just Emily's husband, he became part of our circle, woven into the fabric of our lives. From the outside, their life was the picture of stability. Two beautiful kids, a house that belonged on magazine covers, the kind of place with polished wood floors, high ceilings, and laughter echoing through the halls. Emily would tell me, "I'm so lucky," and I believed her. We all did. And then there was Sophia, the housekeeper. She'd been with them for years, practically family herself. She wasn't just cleaning floors or folding laundry. She was at birthday parties, Christmas mornings, even school events when Emily needed an extra pair of hands. To everyone, Sophia was loyal, trustworthy, almost invisible in the way only someone deeply familiar with a household can be. Still, I always had this nagging thought whenever James flashed that trademark grin. Too polished, too perfect, like a salesman who knows exactly what to say and exactly how long to hold eye contact. Emily called it confidence. I called it slick. I never imagined that tiny unease would grow into something monstrous. But looking back now, I should have trusted that instinct. It started small, so small I almost convinced myself I was imagining it. James had always been charming, but lately, I noticed how that charm seemed to spill over towards Sophia. A lingering smile when she handed him his coffee. The way his laugh shifted when she said something. Softer, more personal, like there was a private joke only the two of them understood. At first I brushed it off. Emily's house was warm, busy, full of life. Maybe it was natural for people under the same roof to grow close. But then I started noticing patterns. James asking Sophia to help with little things he could have easily done himself. Their eyes meeting for a second too long across the room. That quiet, loaded pause when someone else walked in mid-conversation. One evening, I mentioned it to Emily, careful with my words, almost embarrassed to say them out loud. She laughed, not nervously, not suspiciously, but with the easy confidence of a woman who believed her marriage was untouchable. "You're imagining things," she said, shaking her head. "James is just friendly. They've worked together for years. Honestly, Sophia's like part of the family." Her reassurance should have put me at ease. Instead, it made me feel guilty. Like I was the one with the problem, tarnishing something pure with ugly thoughts. Emily trusted James. Emily trusted Sophia. Who was I to question that? Still, I couldn't shake it. The energy in the house had shifted. I felt it in the air like static before a storm. And every time I caught one of those fleeting glances between them, I told myself the same thing. "You're overthinking. Don't ruin this. Don't plant poison where love is supposed to grow. But deep down, a quiet voice whispered back, what if you're right? That night, the one I can't forget, everything I'd ignored, every uneasy thought I'd buried came crashing into focus. I'd gone back into Emily's house to grab my jacket. The kids were upstairs asleep, Emily had just stepped out to pick up dessert, and I thought nothing of slipping quietly down the hallway. But as I passed the half-closed door to the sitting room, I heard it. Laughter. Low voices. Too close. I pushed the door just wide enough to see, and there it was. James and Sophia. Not across the room. Not in some harmless moment of banter. They were tangled together on the couch, his hand on her waist, her face tilted up toward his. Their lips met with the kind of ease that doesn't come from an impulsive mistake. It comes from practice, from routine, from a bond that's been fed in stolen moments long before this one. My breath caught so violently I thought they'd hear it. I gripped the frame of the door to steady myself, every nerve in my body screaming to move. But I couldn't. I was frozen, watching the perfect picture of Emily's life collapse in front of me. They didn't see me, too lost in each other. And that's when the real twist hit me. This wasn't new. Their words between kisses weren't shy or fumbling. They were familiar, casual. I thought she'd never leave, James whispered, chuckling. Sophia smirked. She trusts us too much. Those two sentences shredded any hope that this was a one-time lapse. This wasn't an accident. This was a pattern, a secret carefully tucked into the shadows of Emily's home, the very place she felt safest. I stumbled back, heart hammering, terrified they'd hear me. My mind raced with images of Emily, her laugh, her trust, her certainty that she was so lucky. And all I could think was, she has no idea. She's sleeping next to a stranger every night, and the betrayal is happening under her own roof. That night changed everything, because once you've seen the truth, you can never unsee it. The hours after that night felt like walking through fog. Every time Emily smiled at me, every time she mentioned James with that soft certainty in her voice, I wanted to scream the truth, but the words caught in my throat. How do you destroy someone's world with a single sentence? I told myself I needed time. Time to think. Time to decide. But time only made me sick with guilt. And then James cornered me. It was the next morning, in the kitchen while Emily was upstairs getting the kids ready. He leaned against the counter, casual, as if nothing had happened. But his eyes told a different story. You saw us, he said, low and certain. I didn't answer, I didn't need to. My silence was enough. Then he leaned closer, voice tightening. If you love Emily, don't tell her. You'll ruin her. You'll ruin the kids. Do you really want that on your conscience? The words twisted through me like barbed wire. He was the one betraying her, but somehow he was making me feel like the villain. He kept going, softer now, almost kind. She's happy. Don't take that from her. Sometimes silence is love. And for one awful moment, I believed him. Because Emily was happy. Or at least, she thought she was. And wasn't protecting that illusion better than shattering it with the truth? But at night, when I closed my eyes, I saw them again. Heard them. And the question clawed at me endlessly. Is silence really loyalty, or just another kind of betrayal? It happened at one of those perfect family gatherings Emily loved to host. Kids running in the garden, relatives chatting over wine, the house glowing with the hum of everything she'd built. On the surface, it was flawless, the kind of afternoon you'd bottle if you could. But then Sophia slipped. It was small, so small most people wouldn't have noticed. She brushed past James at the kitchen island, her hand lingering on his back. Not a quick pat, not casual, but slow, familiar, like a touch she'd done 100 times before. And James didn't flinch. He leaned into it, just for a second, before catching himself. My stomach dropped. I glanced at Emily, praying she hadn't seen. But she had. Her eyes flicked to them, narrowed just slightly, then smoothed back into a smile. She laughed at something her cousin said, poured another glass of wine, kept the party rolling. But I saw it, the tiniest crack in her composure, a flicker of something sharp in her eyes before she tucked it away. Later, as we cleared plates, I tried to gauge her mood. She brushed it off with a shrug. Don't be silly, they just get along. Her voice was steady, but her hand trembled as she set a glass on the counter. That's when I realized Emily wasn't blind. She'd noticed before. Maybe not enough to confront it, but enough for the unease to live in her bones. She wanted the illusion too badly to tear it down. And in that moment, I understood. She didn't need me to tell her the truth. She already suspected it herself. I couldn't carry it any longer. Watching Emily pour herself into perfect dinners and polished smiles while I held the truth in my chest felt like slow torture. So one evening, when the kids were at a sleepover and the house was finally quiet, I told her. The words tumbled out in a rush. The night I saw them, the way James cornered me, the slip at the family gathering. Emily went pale, but she didn't scream. She just sat there, frozen, as the walls of her marriage crumbled around her. Then she did something I didn't expect. She told me to stay. She wanted me there when she confronted him. When James walked through the door, the room was already charged. Emily's voice shook, but her eyes were steel. "Tell me the truth," she said. "You and Sophia." For a heartbeat, I thought he'd deny it. But then James smirked, almost relieved. "Fine. Yes, it's true." The admission shattered the air, but before Emily could respond, he twisted the knife. "Don't act so shocked. You knew something was wrong. You just didn't want to face it. You've been distant for years, too focused on the kids, on appearances. You pushed me away, Emily. What happened with Sophia? It didn't come from nowhere." The cruelty of it left her breathless. He wasn't apologizing. He wasn't begging. He was rewriting the story, making her the cause of his betrayal. Emily shook her head, tears brimming. "You don't get to blame me for your choices." But his words hung there, heavy, toxic. And I realized that was his final trick. Even in confession, he was trying to leave her questioning herself. Still, the truth was undeniable now. The man she thought was her forever had torn down their life with his own hands. In the end, I kept circling back to one truth. I wasn't wrong for telling Emily. What nearly broke me wasn't the secret itself. It was the silence. By holding it in, I'd almost become part of the lie, another accomplice in James's carefully constructed illusion. I realized that silence isn't always kindness. Sometimes it's betrayal in disguise. Because letting someone live in a false dream doesn't protect them. It chains them to the very person tearing them apart. Emily's marriage ended that night, but so did the gaslighting, the half smiles, the private jokes whispered just out of earshot. The truth gutted her, yes, but it also freed her. And maybe that's the only kind of loyalty that matters. The kind that rips the mask off, no matter how ugly the face underneath. James thought his secret would stay between him and the help. Instead, it destroyed everything. I didn't betray my best friend. I saved her from the man who already had.